We officially lost our minds and decided to put Christmas lights on the STO. Alright, the first lights for the car have arrived. There they are. The first 400 of 2,000 that are going to be going on the STO. This should be fun. And of course we have the poor STO that has to go through this ridiculous project with us. Now why did we choose this and not that? STO, full PPF. Aventador, impact area only PPF. Therefore, the STO is the unlucky recipient of our lighting project. Everything on this car is PPF'd. Everywhere that the lights, wires, tape, everything are going to touch, full PPF. This is probably the much more difficult car to put the lights on because of the angles. There are actually a lot more angles. All these louvers, front and back, plus the wing, are going to be a challenge. So yes, there's a lot of angles on an Aventador, but it is nothing like the STO. For starters, we have to figure out what is included in all of this. I never even heard of this brand. This is not an endorsement, simply don't know who they are, found them. They looked cool, they seem like they'll work, so here we go. Obviously the lights are there. I am guessing this is some type of transponder, connector. We've never done this before. I'm gonna use the wrong terms. You're just gonna have to bear with me. There's the plug. I'm not sure if we'll actually be needing that. We'll figure that out later. It begins. Already had one crisis. The battery is too big to fit in the front, but there is a 12-volt plug in here. We're going to be using the inverter that's over there and connecting it with an extension strip. This literally feels sacrilegious. Started at roughly 9:30, so we are about 3 hours and 15 minutes in. Maybe not quite half of the front is done. Melinda has accomplished what we think is all of one side. We will determine whether we want to put more in this area. Something's going to have to go here. We have more than doubled our help. Everything is wiring back in here, because it will all eventually connect to that 12-volt Fiat inverter. We also added some height because Melinda's on the other side using a step stool for the roof. Ready?
Go.
Let's try it.
Oh
Shit! Look at that. The next step was to get the lights synced, mapped, and programmed, which turned out to be the most annoying and time-consuming part of the whole process.
It's all fun and games until the software updates and pairings happen.
Right?
Wow.
Alright, twinkly lights are all synced. App is open. We need to map it. Can't read that very well, but we are now going to map the lights. Spoiler alert, this did not work properly. We are completely incapable of getting this to map properly or work together at this point. So we are trying to swap out the inverter to a higher wattage to see if that helps. On the bright side, I have gotten into some festive attire to help inspire the lights to freaking work together. 6:07 p.m. We are resetting all of the lights, trying to get them to all work together. It is now 7 p.m., 6:59. We have been doing this all day, and I may have just figured out how to get them all to sync. 7:05 p.m. We started this almost 10 hours ago, and we weren't able to actually drive with it last night because one of them kept dropping offline, but it looks like we could have figured it out. It's working, working, working. It's working, working, working. Woo! Our two neighbors are up in the front of the truck. I'm clearly in the back. Melinda is back there in the car. And this is how we get clips.
Tell me when you want me to pass you.
Pass me now.
Let he see it working, and then do it after.
Get your Santa hat.
You didn't want to take
The drivers. Woo!
the
You have fuzzy socks, flip-flops, shorts, and a hoodie because that's Florida in a nutshell. Another night. More STO adventures. We have our radios. Yes, it's working. Ironically, she just did a radio check. Just a little bit of neighborhood testing before we head out. Melinda in the STO with a different color scheme, and we are on a hot spot tonight. We are going to try changing the lights on the go. Not sure how close she's going to have to get to the car for this, so stay tuned. Just hanging in the back of a pickup truck, filming a Lambo Christmas tree. Whenever we stop at the park, we're going to try to do an on-the-fly light change.
10-4.
Changing the lights on the fly ended up being even cooler than we imagined it would be. Just in case the lights on the car aren't already annoying, now people are going to get our handle on LEDs. Night number 3 of going out, and this time we were both in the car. That's why you can't see us. It is pitch black in here except for those strips of lights that you can kind of see there. When you find the absolute perfect parking spot. The STO looks like something straight out of a video game with these lights on it. And the reactions that we get from adults and kids while we drive around is amazing. Completely worth all the effort that was put into it. So let this be your sign to get some lights on your car next Christmas season. If you've made it this far in the video, then it is because you want to figure out how to do lights on your own car. Now, this is going to be a little bit STO specific, but most of what we're going to say is going to be applicable to any car that you choose, and we'll give you a couple of ideas of what you can use for whatever car that you might have. We chose to go with Twinkly brand, 400 total count of lights per strand. That's 65 feet in two 32.5-foot increments, so you can actually go 2 different directions with the same receiver transponder that's in the box. Specifically the dots. We chose the dots because they're small plastic lights with a flat, very malleable, very easily movable wire. Also, with it being flat, it is way easier to tape down than a round wire. So again, Twinkly 400 count. We did 5 boxes on here. Now that totals 2,000 lights. We could have used more lights on the front, could have used a few more lights on the roof and the sides as well. So if we had gotten another 2 or 3 boxes, we could have gotten a little bit more dense with our lights and been able to do some more detailed scenes and programs, but we like how it turned out here. How did we get these lights onto the car? It's not really rocket science, just some good old-fashioned Scotch brand transparent tape applied generously all over the car. Now, these 5 boxes that are on the car took 4 rolls of this. We have another 4 for reinforcement. The twinkly dots do come with these double-sided dots that you can put on the back of them. We didn't want to take a chance, even though this is a fully PPF'd car, and we do recommend that you have a fully PPF'd car before you do this, just to really reduce any chance of doing anything to your paint. Even with full PPF, we didn't know how it might react with that, and we don't know what kind of adhesive was on it, so we decided to go with trusty Scotch transparent tape. Another detail that you have to pay attention to is if you cross over the door, make sure you leave some slack and that you keep an eye on it whenever you open and close it. All in all, the actual application of the lights didn't take very long, to be honest. We thought it would be much harder to get everything on, much more tedious. Now it is tedious, but it's almost therapeutic because you're just doing the same thing over and over again, which is putting every single piece of tape on here. This process of rip and stick is something you should get used to if you plan on doing this. What is time consuming is figuring out how everything is going to get from here to everywhere that it needs to go, and what your maximum efficient usage is of each strand. Here is the brain center. Each box, I should say, of twinkly dots has one of these transponders, I guess, whatever. This is like a receiver that plugs in down there. There is a power strip down there, and there is an inverter. This is a similar inverter to what you would use if you have something like that 12-volt cheat code, as I'm calling it, in the front of the STO. So it connects like a cigarette lighter into there. Now this was a 375 watt, should have been more than enough for the 5 boxes that we had, but we decided to upgrade to a 500, which is what's in there and running it right now. If we did not have that 12-volt outlet, I will show you in a moment exactly what you would need to use with an inverter instead. If you do not have this kind of option close to or easily accessible to the lights, you would use something such as this that would be used in conjunction with an inverter such as this. Every single wire that you see on the car, you can see some over there, you can see how they're running through here. They all run out of this frunk area. We didn't even bother with this, any of it, like the setup, until we'd already gotten all the lights on the car. We just made sure that every one of these transponders and plugs came back to the frunk, or I guess started at the frunk, and then the lights work backwards. Twinkly does give you directions in the form of this pamphlet, but it's really not a helpful guide. So this you can throw out, honestly. Once you download the app and you have all of the lights connected and the power running to them, the app will take you through the initial setup. Took about, let's see, I would say 4 hours to actually apply the lights, right? So including planning, taking some off, putting them on, and then the other 6 hours were mapping and programming and trying to sync and figuring out how to get everything connected and working together. Here is the Twinkly app. So it is just called Twinkly, nothing special, Twinkly app. You'll see up here at the top that we have a group called STO. Now, whenever you're first getting this set up, it's going to have to take each device. It'll walk you through adding it. There's directions on the screen here that will tell you exactly how to add the light, what the light color on the controller should be, etc. Now, what I'm going to show you is something that took us way too long to figure out, and maybe we were just, I don't know, ridiculous and out of our minds by the time we got here. But we did not need to map every single individual strand. All we needed to do was add the strands into the group STO, and then you see where it says group type join. So there are 3 options. There is group type sync, group type area, and the first one that's marked is group type join, but for whatever reason my brain was not reading that as an option. It was the end of the day. I kept choosing sync or area, and we could not map the lights together. We were about to lose our minds until I went back and I saw group type join. So if you want them working in sync with each other and you're doing this on a car, you're going to need to choose group type join. From there, you'll be able to map the entire car. I did more than the suggested number of mapping angles. I think it prompts you to do 4, but you can add more angles than what it asks just to make sure you get everything mapped properly. And this is what that mapping looked like whenever we finished. And it was at this point that we finally realized, after many hours, that we were going to be able to get this mapping properly. you can rename each of the areas so that you know which one is which. So in our case, we have 5 on here. That gray dot means that they're not connected. Because the car is not on, we don't have it connected to any external power right now, so there's no power to them. So they're not on. But whenever these are all green, then they are good to go and good to work together. It is night 3 of going out to do some filming with the STO lights, and we unlocked, I guess it could be called a hack last night, or we just kind of figured something else out. You can hotspot from a phone. That allows you to actually change the lights and the colors on the fly. However, whatever device that you are using to change the lights and control the lights cannot be the same device that you're hotspotting to. Because as far as I know, that device cannot be connected to its own hotspot. And whatever device you're using to change the lights needs to be connected to the same Wi-Fi as the lights. So you would need 2 phones, 2 devices to hotspot from. One of them is controlling the lights. The other one is the hotspot that the phone and the lights are connected to. So it's kind of fun to be able to change it on the fly, and that's how you do it.